Yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Marvelous Chats. My name is Finto. I'm joined in this video by Alex, aka Zaberwolf, and we're going to be reviewing the new DC movie Black Adam that came out just on Friday. So, Alex, what did you think of the film?
Um, so Finto, when I first saw it, I was actually getting hyped. I made it there a little bit late, got to see some of the previews, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this. Like, I'm ready to go in. And I wasn't expecting there to be like a bit of backstory at the beginning of it,
Mhm.
which I guess that makes sense because there's not too much to know about Black Adam. Not very many people know about him, but I feel like the first half of this movie just didn't do it for me. Like it was just something about the first half that was just it was cliche, it was predictable. It didn't really feel that great. The second half, however, was just fucking awesome. Like it felt like a DC movie. Like it felt like it was just this great moment between, this anti-hero slash villain and these other heroes, seeing the JSA, seeing like all the different characters of the JSA, seeing Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate was like fantastic. I feel like he was a very integral part of the show, and like I loved Hawkman. I thought his whole situation was great. Adam Smasher looked fantastic. Cyclone was great. The Rock, I loved his design, but I really wish they had done a little bit more.
Mm.
I know we had talked about this in the past, and we were like, well, what about his hair? Like he should at least have a little bit of hair, maybe show like that triangle shape, like the Widow's Peak, kind of give out that iconic comic look.
Yeah.
When I look at him, he just looks like The Rock. So it's just it's hard not to look at him that way.
Mm.
But how did you feel about the first half and the second half?
Yeah, I really liked the movie, to be honest. I went in like not really expecting anything, and it was just really surprising how much I enjoyed the movie. And like, same thing, like it kind of annoyed me that he like wasn't putting on an accent or had the kind of iconic comic book hair. I was just like, it's just The Rock selling The Rock by just being The Rock in costume. So I was going in kind of thinking that I was going to hate it, but I did see him portray a lot of passion in the film, which
Mhm.
I really liked. I loved the JSA, got a real kind of like X-Men slash Fantastic Four kind of vibe off them. Um, I was kind of confused by Hawkman. I think there because Hawkman is a very interesting character in DC.
Mhm.
There's been a couple of different like tellings of his backstory and his origin. Like there's a version of him where he's like an alien from a different planet that comes to Earth, and then there's a version of him that's like reincarnated over and over again over thousands of years. And I just didn't know which version of him that we were watching, and that kind of annoyed me. I wish they kind of gave a bit more of a backstory into him. To like, he seemed like he was really powerful, so that made me think that he's an
Yeah.
alien, like he's not from Earth.
Right.
And but then I don't know. There's just like no kind of reference to him being out of this planet, or there was no reference to him being like ancient. Because like I was thinking,
Mhm.
if you did the ancient one, maybe he would have then heard of Black Adam in previous lives. So I don't know.
Mhm.
That kind of, I thought that was a bit strange that they didn't really go into much detail. Same with Doctor Fate, like a fantastic character. Pierce Brosnan was amazing, but it seems like they've just gone and spoiler alert, they've gone and just killed him off like in the first film. And I know the helmet like chooses to who the next fate will be, like, but I feel like you really wasted an opportunity if we're never going to see Pierce Brosnan again. I don't know if maybe they go back and maybe tell stories of like events previous to this. I don't know. I just feel like, and it's the same with Adam Smasher and same with Cyclone. I know nothing about them, and I feel like I left the movie feeling like I still know nothing about them. Uh,
Right.
like
Yeah.
I've seen. Go on.
It was so blank.
Yeah, it was
It
just
was
weird. Like I'm pretty into DC comics. Like I read a lot of DC, so I felt like I kind of knew the characters enough for me. But like
Mhm.
my girlfriend, for example, like knew none of these characters. Like Doctor Fate has showed up. Like she reads a lot of Wonder Woman. Doctor Fate showed up in a few Wonder Woman comics. She didn't know that Black Adam was a Shazam. Like for example, like that's how much like she didn't know him. Like, and I was like, I'm surprised that Black Adam doesn't show up in Wonder Woman comics. Like so it was just interesting for her. And like I was texting a friend of mine after the movie. He went to see it like an hour before me, so when I got out he had already been sending me text messages saying that he absolutely loved it. So and he was like, I knew nothing about the story of him and all, like, so it was great to kind of see. I didn't realize how powerful he was and blah blah blah. So like I feel like a lot of people went into the movie not knowing anything about Black Adam, and I think in that case maybe they should have explained a little more. I personally liked the pacing of the film because I just thought, yeah, it's, let's just get into it. And I really liked the vibe of the movie. It kind of felt like we were in like 2012 superhero movies where, like, like it felt like Avengers 1 kind of with the team up and stuff like that, and it was just all action and it was great. I feel like
Yeah.
Marvel's been missing out on that sort of action in a movie for a while now. That's how it feels anyway. Um so it felt like we were kind of going back to basics a little bit. So, and I felt happy about that. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, then to talk about the after credit scene, which
Oh,
wasn't much of a surprise because the entire internet's been talking about it for a week. Even The Rock in interviews has been kind of throwing the spoiler out there. I think it's just to get people to get asses in seats. But yeah, look, Henry Cavill returns as Superman. He's got a much brighter suit on, and he basically, he comes down after Amanda Waller, who was in the movie as well, which was cool to see her a few times in the film. So it links in with like Suicide Squad and stuff like that, which was nice. And then she kind of threatens, like, you need to stay where you are. This is your new prison. If you step outside of your border, we're gonna send people in from a different planet because he claims that nobody on this planet can stop me or whatever. And
right.
then
Yeah.
Superman flies down straight away, and his line was cool. Like, he literally came in, said one line, and that was it. And it was done. So it's great to have him back. Obviously, I'm a massive, massive Henry Cavill fan. I love him, and I want to see him get Man of Steel 2. I hear Man of Steel 2 is now in the.
It's like in production.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I think they're working on a script now, which is great because Henry deserves the world. Like, I think he's the best Superman ever, and I want to see more.
He just looks great for the part.
He's perfect.
Yeah.
He's perfect.
And one of the things that I really love about the reveal, although it was predictable, the idea that Superman versus Black Adam is the thing is like, it's huge because when you think about it, Superman, although most people don't know, like I know that a lot of people know that his weakness is kryptonite, but his other weakness is magic. And most people don't know that. And so with him going up against a magic user such as Black Adam, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
And so it's a really good matchup. And if you were to do that, and I would even consider bringing in Shazam in the midst of
he
it.
has to be in it. Like, I know the way that like DC are trying to work it. They're trying to move the two of these movies as two separate franchises to make it kind of like spread it out or dilute it. But like, these guys belong on screen together. Like, it's Shazam versus Black Adam. That's like
huge.
Superman Lex Luthor, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the caliber. Like, these guys are arch enemies. Like, so yeah, I think they're just kind of diluting the whole thing and spreading out the first meet that they eventually do have. But I wouldn't be surprised if The Rock showed up in Shazam 2, to be honest, if he like popped into the very end of the movie, or Shazam hears about him and it's like, hey, that dude has like the same powers as me, what the hell's going on? Like, they have to do that. And like, there's been like some very like infamous comic runs from DC where it's like Shazam and Superman versus Black Adam and stuff like that. So I think that's really where it's gonna go. I think, can they really do, like they've done Batman versus Superman? Are they really going to do like Black Adam versus Superman? It kind of, it feels like
the purpose.
Yeah, it feels like we've kind of done it already. Whereas if they did Black Adam 2 and brought Shazam in and Superman, that's the sell. Like, that will be epic.
Well, and it would work perfectly because if you think about it, most people don't know why Black Adam says Shazam, and similar to Shazam himself, because it's all according to the gods that were like giving him the power. So in terms of Shazam, it was the Olympian gods, correct? And then for Black Adam, it was the Egyptian gods.
I believe they get their power from the same people. It's the same power.
Well, it's actually, well, like if you were to look, that's why there's two of them. Because they're each given a power from the gods of like a different pantheon.
You're right, yeah.
And so that's why Black Adam's got like all the Egyptian ones, and then I think because he gets his powers from like Zeus, Ares, Hades, and whatnot. And so Black Adam's is like Horus and Osiris. Well, like not Osiris, you need an A or something. But like,
yeah,
I think that would really like kind of brush up on or clean up any sort of like misunderstanding as to why they both have similar powers.
Yeah.
And then it would make sense to be like, why are you also a Shazam kind of? It just works. Like,
Yeah.
having the two like fight each other. Even if you were to have like the first half of that movie being Superman versus Black Adam, like he's gonna have to ask for some help, and then they'll go grab Shazam, and then he'll be like, oh, I know how to deal with this
Yeah.
because like I know about the wizard Shazam.
Oh, definitely. I think that's what'll probably happen. Like, if Black Adam 2 will be where the after credit scene, it'll take off pretty much exactly where that ended. And then maybe Superman gets his ass kicked, and then he's like, okay, I need help. And then he goes and fights Shazam. Like, it's pretty obvious, but I suppose we'll have to wait like 3 years to find out. But we'll see what happens.
So, so I know you were saying that with The Rock and doing Black Adam, like he did a pretty good job. I'm kind of like a little torn at the very beginning. I think it turned into a very Terminator 2-esque kind of situation. He was very like he came in as if he didn't know shit, like he never existed in the first place.
Hmm.
He kind of showed up. He didn't really have any sayings whatsoever. And yes, I get it. It was like modern times, and so like he has to kind of get this whole um he has to get back in gear for all that kind of stuff. But it just felt really like Terminator 2-esque, and it just felt cheesy.
Bro,
And then
how quick did he learn English?
like super quick,
Like, it
like
was ridiculous.
immediately.
Because
It
like
was,
that was one of the main
yeah.
kind of critiques when people were like reviewing it before the movie came out. It's like the dude speaks English in the entire trailer, and he's like a 5,000-year-old like god or champion that was like put in a prison or buried. And it's like, how's this dude coming out and he's speaking perfect English? And then when he first shows up in the movie, like the intro scene where we get him is like an epic scene where he's like just killing people left and right, and he's not speaking English. And I was like, okay, this is cool because it makes sense. I was like, this is correct.
Mhm.
This is what we should be seeing. And then like pretty much maybe like 10 minutes of like a runtime, and probably like a 2 hours or 3 hours in the movie, then he's like speaking perfect English. Like, I just
Right.
thought it was very strange.
And it kind of like it feels like it was a wasted opportunity because everyone from Kondak speaks the language that they spoke thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So like they could have had it. I know it's supposed to be like an American style like conversation, so you don't really want people looking at subtitles all the time. But like just give us a little bit more. Like have them show that he's an ancient being
I
born from the gods.
I absolutely hate reading subtitles watching movies, but I would
Mhm.
have happily read subtitles for the first half an hour of that film, because
Yeah.
it would have made the pacing and the movie make more sense that this dude's woken up. It's 5,000 years in the future. Why is he
Mhm.
speaking English after 2 minutes? Like, it's a bit strange.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you felt the same way. Did they just flat out let you know from the get-go who the bad guy was? That felt so like that was like a kick in the nuts. Like, dude, let me speculate first. Like, let the guy who's supposed to be like on the right side be kind of mysterious a little bit. Like have him be friendly, get caught in the rubble, and then later on he's actually the bad guy. Like, not don't shoehorn him into the situation, because that was so annoying. Like immediately once you heard him like right behind the secondary character, like he scares her, says the other guy's he's outside, and it just felt like weird. It's like, why are you trying to force me to understand that that's the bad guy? Why can't you let me learn,
Yeah,
or let
no,
me
like, to be honest, like, I didn't need that like final boss at all. Like, you know what I mean? It was just, it was completely irrelevant to the story. It wasn't needed at all. It should have been just Black Adam versus the JSA, and that I would have been happy with that.
Yeah,
I
that
like,
would have been great.
the whole crown thing is interesting, but at the same time, I didn't need to see like the demon being resurrected and Black Adam having to fight him to claim the throne and all that stuff at the end. They could have left it out, and you wouldn't have even noticed, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because it ended in a way where like he's locked up, he's put away,
Yeah.
he won't come back for some time. But even then, later on, you do like a later in that year or something kind of situation where he all of a sudden comes back,
Why didn't
and
they
he
call?
realizes he has to.
Why didn't they then call Superman? It's like,
I don't know.
hey Superman, or hey Justice League, Aquaman, Flash, anybody. There's like, ring Amanda Waller, like JSA rings Amanda Waller. Hey guys, there's been a demon resurrected straight out of hell, and he's gonna actually destroy the entire planet. So can we get the A team in here, please? Like, what's going
Right.
on? It's like let's resurrect the dude who we've spent the whole movie getting into a prison 5 minutes after we lock him up. Like, I understand you have to get Black Adam out of the cage, like, like Black Adam 2 has to happen, he has to end on top, but at the same time, it's just like, call Superman, like, he's right there. Yeah. Like, he literally, they prove it in the after credit scene, he's available at the blink of an eye. So it's just like, where was he for the whole movie? where was Batman? Exactly. Where was the entire Justice League?
Like, why? Like, if you had such an easy call, Waller, just fucking bring him in.
Yeah, like, I know there's like a whole kind of like with the Avengers, I've in comics it happens sometimes, like, there's a whole kind, and I think that Snyder kind of touched on it a little bit in his movies as well. Like, it's like, should Superman be going and crossing borders? Like, there's a whole kind of, should he do it, like, morally or politically or whatever. So I think maybe they're like, Justice League stay in the US or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's
well, like, it's just dumb. Like, you can even tell, like, Waller's like, I can call anybody from anywhere and bring him anyhow. And it almost feels like Warner Brothers is trying to give us that message as well. It's like, we could bring in the guys anytime.
Hell yeah.
It's like,
she's like,
do it.
Like, she says, like, multiple people from multiple planets. Like, like, it's implied that it's like, it could be anybody. It could be like Lanterns, could be like Martian Manhunter, Superman. Like, and he's like, bring them all. Supergirl, like, you know what I mean? It's like, hell yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I want to see. But, like, look, to be honest, like, to kind of wrap the video up, the movie, for me, I gave it like 7.5 out of 10. I think it was very strong. I think it's well worth going to see. I think it needs to be seen in IMAX in the theater with the fucking amazing sound. It's like a full action-packed film. If you're into action, this is it. Like, I think it does the job that it's meant to do. And there are problems with the story, but I think it's a fun movie to see in the theater. Like, it's a good Friday night out. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, like, before our conversation, I would say I'd given it about a 6.5, but after our conversation, I think I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. So I would like to give it a solid 7. I think that it does need a lot of improvement. I think that it's a little, like, it was a little stiff at the beginning, but I think it got much better as it went on. I really enjoyed the very end of it. I know that the demon wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
But I guess they really didn't want to do like a heroes getting beat down kind of situation.
True. But it's only the JSA, sure.
But that's the thing, is like, they really could have changed it so that it was the JSA that gets defeated.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, this is my spot, and he sits down, and he does act like he's the ruler of the area. Like, that would have been cool. Like, I would have been totally okay with that.
Yeah, well, he is. That's how it goes in the comics. He is he's the king, He rules that country.
And did you, by the way, before we go, like, did you love that little scene where, like, he sat on the throne and he did the comic pose?
Yeah, dude, it was epic.
That was sick.
I turned to my girlfriend and I was like, that is a panel right out of the comic books right there.
Yep.
And, like, I love that shit. I live for that stuff, live for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, like, look, I'm going to end this video on an absolute bombshell. This movie was better than Thor, Love and Thunder, and this movie was also better than pretty much every single show that Disney Plus has put out. So there you go. That's my review. See you in the next video, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video. Let us know in the comments what you think of the movie. Have you seen it? Are you going to go see it now, maybe after you've heard our review? Let us know, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.